So now let's take a good look at Darwin and the world being ripe for Darwinism. Now we have to take a look at what was going on politically at the time, Darwinism, slavery. And, you know, it was all about the white man believing that he was better than the black man. It was a terrible thing, and by the way, this country paid for it in the Civil War. There was such a bloodbath that no black person should have any qualms with how we paid in this country, because the war was very bloody. But, be that as it may, one race exalting itself over another is no new thing. I happen to be Yugoslavian, actually Serbo-Croatian, okay? And Slav means slave, so our people were slaved over. So making one man meat and another man better than the other man was what Adam's sin was all about. And so these elitist people who had black slaves needed an excuse to dehumanize them and make them a lower race. And Darwin, by the way, was a racist. Yes, he was. Okay? And the whole idea of one species being better than the other came from bigoted scientists that measured the sizes of people's heads or the color of their eyes and their body and decided that they were not as smart as somebody else, other people. Now this is history, ladies and gentlemen, how they thought that the black man was inferior to the white man. And by the way, this was the perfect political climate for an elite peoples to put black people under slavery. Okay? So atheism, or Darwinism, the idea of the origins of species, and Darwin's cousin, Sir Francis Galton, perpetrated the idea, or put forth the idea of one race being better than the other, which gave them an excuse to be able to treat their fellow man and slap black people and the Africans into slavery. This is the political reason why people got behind Darwin. Okay, so it didn't have to do with people really wanting to believe in evolution so much as they wanted an excuse for them to be better than their fellow man. And if you look at Adam and Eve in the garden, that was the exact sin that Adam had. It was the sin of man exalting himself. And it has been the sin of man ever since. So then you wonder why God doesn't have the right to judge, or does he? And you wonder why he sent his son to bring us, to put everybody in humiliation, and that Jesus said, I am the way and the truth and the life, so no man can exalt himself. And then you look at the hatefulness of every atheist that talks about talks to people in a condescending manner, making themselves out to be better and more intelligent, because of course we don't believe in silly things like God, but in the meantime being rooted in communism, Marxism, and having to do with everything that had to do with one man having the right to torture another man. Oh, well, maybe not all atheists have that heart, but see, that's where the power of man, and I see this in atheists, by the way. Every atheist that makes a comment is the most arrogant son of a you-know-what I've ever heard in my life. So, if you give them power, I don't think they know what they're capable of. And I really don't think that the people who committed genocide knew what they were capable of. But the Jewish people could do it. And had not the Jewish people, the German people did it against the Jews. In Rwanda, they did it against the Tutsis. And they did it in Cambodia. This is mentality of men. Some of them with the idea that because they were atheists, they were superior. Other ones thinking that their religion was higher than others. Others thinking that they came from the Aryan race. But it was always about one man thinking that they were better than the other man. And that includes the atheist who thinks that they're better than everybody else. You see? And that's what makes the Bible so true, is because it shows the arrogance, and this was the whole point of God's plan, to show the arrogance of man. Take care. God bless.